Beloved soul, take a gentle moment right now to simply breathe and settle into this space. Please understand that what is being placed before your eyes in this moment was not brought to you by chance. Heaven itself has guided your steps to this exact message at this specific point in your life. Something is shifting around you right now. It may feel very quiet on the surface and almost invisible to your natural eyes, but the angels are declaring clearly that what is unfolding beneath the surface of your situation carries far more power than anything you are currently able to see with your own limited understanding. If you want to know the full truth about what happens when you finally stop chasing, please hit that like button right now. You did not fight and you did not beg. You did not send one final desperate message trying to explain yourself or justify where you stood. You simply stopped. You stopped chasing and stopped directing all your precious energy towards someone who had grown completely comfortable receiving it without ever giving it back in equal measure. And beloved, in that single, quiet, and courageous decision, something ancient and deeply divine was set into motion that you may not yet fully comprehend. The person who once felt entirely certain of your presence is now standing inside an unfamiliar silence they were not at all prepared for. The warmth you extended so freely, the attention you gave so consistently day after day, and the emotional availability you offered without reservation, all of it has been withdrawn. And they can feel that withdrawal. They do not feel it as an argument or as a confrontation or as drama. They feel it as a profound absence. Absence, beloved, carries a kind of spiritual and emotional power that words could never replicate or produce on their own. Right now, whether you can fully see it or not, they are thinking very deeply. They are questioning and feeling things they never anticipated feeling because for the very first time, they are encountering you without your constant effort holding everything together between you, and that changes everything about the dynamic that used to exist. When you stop chasing someone, the shift that occurs is not necessarily loud or dramatic, but it is profoundly real on both a spiritual and psychological level. Before this moment, the connection between you was being sustained almost entirely by your own effort, your own messages, your own emotional availability, and your own consistent way of showing up. All of that energy was flowing steadily toward them, creating a kind of one-sided momentum that kept everything moving forward. That momentum placed them in a position of spiritual and emotional comfort that they never had to examine or question. They did not have to make clear decisions about what they truly wanted. They did not have to examine their own feelings with any real honesty or fully confront what they genuinely desired from the connection because your energy was filling every gap and answering every question before it could even fully form inside them. God designed the human heart to seek, to pursue, and to make genuine choices. But when one person is doing all the seeking and all the pursuing on behalf of both, the other person is robbed of the very process that produces authentic and lasting commitment. They were existing within the connection without contributing equally, and a connection that only one person is truly sustaining is not a covenant. It is merely a convenience. Please comment the word stopped if you finally decided to stop chasing and felt that shift in your own life. The moment you stopped, that entire structure began to give way. It did not happen because you created drama or forced any kind of confrontation, but because you withdrew the force that had been holding an imbalance in place that was never meant to be permanent. What once felt stable and certain to them now feels uncertain and unfamiliar. And the human spirit, just as God designed it, is fundamentally uncomfortable with uncertainty when something meaningful appears to be a genuine risk. Proverbs 4:23 tells us that above all else we are to guard our hearts because everything we do flows from that place within us. Beloved, when you stopped chasing, you began guarding your heart. And in doing so, heaven began doing what only heaven is capable of doing. It began revealing the truth. The truth is that before your silence, their attention was entirely passive. They received your energy without ever feeling the need to give back, fully confident that your effort would always bridge the distance between you. Your predictability had become their comfort zone, a constant they never had to question. But now your absence has made their attention active, and for the very first time, they are noticing the void. This is not a coincidence, beloved. It is by divine design. The human mind naturally normalizes what is always available, but it is startled awake the moment that presence is withdrawn. Your silence has interrupted their expectations, leaving a gap where quiet questions are beginning to form. They are reanalyzing past conversations and wondering if something has shifted as God uses this disrupted certainty to awaken a spirit that complacency had put to sleep. 1 Corinthians 14:33 reminds us that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. The confusion they now feel was authored by the imbalance they allowed to exist. Because by chasing them, you carried a weight that was never yours to bear. Now your stillness has made that imbalance undeniable, and the connection suddenly demands an investment and initiative from them that feels incredibly uncomfortable. Your attention was a mirror, reflecting their significance without them ever having to earn it. Now that the mirror is gone, they must finally face the reality of what they took for granted. As Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a righteous person are ordered by the Lord." Your step towards stillness was ordered by God to finally reveal the truth. Heaven is using your decision to stop chasing to bring about 3 powerful spiritual revelations, beginning with the exposure of the imbalance. When you were giving everything, the unequal nature of the connection was hidden under the weight of your own effort. But now the truth is laid bare. They are forced to see how little they actually contributed, how often you were the one to reach out, and how much emotional labor you carried all alone, producing an honesty that is necessary for genuine healing. Furthermore, this silence forces a stillness where emotions rise more clearly, forcing them to sit with their own thoughts and confront what they truly feel about you. Finally, this creates the ultimate test of initiative. The responsibility to move the connection forward now rests entirely on them, and their choice will reveal their true character, because someone who genuinely values you will not allow the silence to remain permanent. The 4th way this works is through the revealing of emotional and spiritual maturity. Not everyone responds to absence in the same way, and the way a person responds to your silence reveals the true depth of their emotional and spiritual maturity in a way that nothing else quite can. A person who is genuinely capable of real covenant love will not react defensively to your withdrawal. They will sit with the discomfort it creates. They will examine their own behavior with honesty rather than retreating into pride. They will ask difficult questions of themselves and resist the urge to look away from the answers. But a person who is not yet emotionally mature will resist this process entirely. They may pull further away in order to protect their own sense of pride. They may try to convince themselves that the connection was never as significant as it felt when you were fully present. They may wait passively for you to return to your old patterns rather than rising to meet the moment with the courage it truly requires. Their response, beloved, is one of the clearest signs heaven will send you about whether this person is truly ready for the kind of love God is calling you toward in this season of your life. The 5th way this works is through the revealing of their genuine feelings. Your consistent presence may have been sustaining emotions in them that were partly kept alive by your own energy and your effort rather than by any genuine and independent depth of feeling on their part. But your absence removes that external input entirely. And what remains in its place is the honest truth of what they feel about you independent of anything you are doing or not doing. If their feelings for you are genuinely real, the absence of your presence will cause those feelings to intensify. They will begin to miss you not as a comforting habit or as a familiar convenience, but as a specific and irreplaceable person. They will recognize what your presence actually meant to their life in ways they never slowed down to fully acknowledge before. But if their feelings were shallow, if they were sustained more by the ease of your availability than by a genuine and deep connection, that truth also becomes painfully apparent through the silence. This is a season of profound clarity, and you should take comfort in the fact that your actions are aligning you with the truth that you deserve to see. The silence you are currently maintaining is not an act of cruelty, but a necessary boundary. It is a way of clearing the air so that you can finally see who is willing to walk with you and who was only willing to benefit from your company without offering anything in return. You are finding your own voice and your own power by deciding that you are no longer willing to be the only one doing the work in a relationship. This is a brave thing to do, and you should be proud of yourself for prioritizing your emotional and spiritual health. Many people stay in situations far longer than they should because they are afraid of the silence, but you have embraced it. You are learning that your value does not come from your ability to keep someone else happy or to keep a connection moving forward when it should be at a standstill. Your value is inherent, it is given by God, and it does not decrease because you decide to stop offering your energy to someone who does not cherish it. As you move through this period, keep your heart open to the lessons that are coming your way. Understand that God is preparing you for something much better than what you are settling for. He is refining your understanding of what love really looks like, and He is showing you that you do not have to beg for a place in anyone else's life. When you stop chasing, you are making room for the right things to enter. You are clearing out the clutter of one-sided dynamics to make space for a connection that is balanced, healthy, and rooted in mutual respect. This is not just about the other person, it is about you becoming the person you were meant to be. It is about you stepping into your own authority and your own dignity. You are no longer waiting for permission to be loved the way you deserve to be loved. You are setting the standard for how you are to be treated, and that is a powerful, transformative shift. Trust the process. And trust that the silence is doing exactly what it needs to do. If it is meant to stay, the silence will bring them to a place of realization and change. If it is meant to go, the silence will bring you the peace of moving on. Either way, you are winning because you are finally choosing yourself. You are choosing your own peace, your own worth, and your own path. Keep moving forward with grace, knowing that you are being led by the hand of the Almighty. Everything is unfolding as it should. Your patience, your courage, and your willingness to step back into your own life are all signs of your spiritual maturity. You are growing, you are healing, and you are becoming stronger every single day. Continue to stay focused on your own growth and your own journey. Let go of the need to control the outcome or to force a resolution. Allow God to work in the background because He is always working for your good. The quiet you are experiencing now is just the calm before a new, better chapter begins. Trust in the timing of your life and trust in the love that has never failed you. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, and you are doing exactly what you need to do to arrive at your divine destination. This path is not always easy, but it is always worth it when you are walking in truth. You are a beloved child of God, and you are worthy of a love that comes to you just as freely as you give it. Keep your heart guarded, keep your head held high, and keep walking in the light of the truth. The shift is real, the growth is necessary, and the outcome will be for your highest good. You are doing so well, and you should be so proud of how far you have come in this journey. Everything is working together for your benefit, even if it feels difficult at times. Remember that you are not alone in this, and that there is a purpose for every season. This season of silence is a gift, and it will lead you to a place of peace and clarity that you have been praying for. Keep your focus on your faith, and everything else will fall into place in due time. And either outcome, beloved, is a gift. Because the truth, even when it is difficult to sit with, is always better than a comforting illusion that keeps you in a place you were never meant to remain. The sixth way is through the activation of spiritual clarity within you. Beloved, this is something the angels want you to hold very closely to your spirit. The silence you have chosen is not only working on them, it is also working within you in ways that are just as significant. It is creating the necessary space for God to speak directly to your spirit without the constant draining noise of emotional striving and overthinking that has been filling that space for so long. When you stop pouring all of your energy outward towards someone who is not meeting you where you are, that energy begins returning to you. And God uses that returned energy to heal what has been quietly depleted over time, to sharpen your discernment, and to prepare your heart for what is genuinely and truly coming. Isaiah 30:15 tells us that in returning and rest is our salvation, and in quietness and trust is our strength. Your silence is your strength, beloved. It always has been, even when it did not feel that way in the harder, more painful moments of waiting. The seventh way is through the removal of what is not a covenant. If this person is not truly meant for you, and if this connection is not ordained by God as a genuine covenant between two lives, then your silence will make that truth undeniable. It will not happen through argument or confrontation or pain, but through the process of natural revelation. What is not meant to remain will quietly fall away under the honest weight of your withdrawal. And a door that closes, beloved, is never God's punishment for something you did or failed to do. It is always God's protection over what lies ahead for you. What leaves your life to create room for something greater is not lost. It is preparation for the real thing that is still coming. When your energy shifts and the pursuit finally ends, the person on the other side enters a season of emotional and spiritual unsettledness, even if they carefully maintain a composed exterior for the world around them. And the angels want you to understand what that unsettledness genuinely looks like, because recognizing it will protect you from misreading what is quietly unfolding in the space between you. The first reaction they experience is rarely clear or direct. Instead, it arrives as a blend of confusion, growing curiosity, and a subtle anxiety that builds beneath the surface of their ordinary daily life. Confusion is typically where it begins. They had grown accustomed to a certain spiritual and emotional rhythm between you. It was a predictable flow where your energy was always present and always moving consistently toward them. That rhythm created a sense of stability in them, even if they were never fully conscious of it or grateful for it. When that stability disappears, their spirit struggles to settle back into any comfortable place. They find themselves asking persistent questions that do not arrive at clear answers. Why did this shift happen? What caused this change? Is this about something they said or did? Has something changed within you? Has something changed within themselves? The questions keep moving in circles without landing anywhere solid, and that circular movement produces a discomfort that is genuinely difficult to dismiss or ignore. What happens next, after the silence has settled and the reflection has genuinely begun, is not determined by the circumstances alone. It is determined entirely by the inner condition of the person who is now facing those circumstances. Your absence creates a space, but what that space ultimately produces depends completely on the emotional and spiritual maturity of the person encountering it. Please comment the name Jung if the wisdom of Carl Jung is hitting different for you today. A person with genuine emotional and spiritual maturity does not simply react impulsively to the discomfort your absence creates. They pause. They look inward rather than outward for answers. They become curious not just about you, but about themselves and their own behavior within this connection. When they feel the weight of the shift, they do not rush to assign blame or construct an explanation that merely protects their pride and leaves them feeling blameless. Instead, they begin examining the role they played in how things unfolded. How much did they genuinely contribute? How honestly did they communicate what they felt and wanted? How clearly did they pursue what truly mattered to them when the opportunity was present? This examination brings with it a quiet accountability they were not previously willing to carry. Instead of focusing only on what they may be losing, they begin to understand what they failed to offer when the opportunity to offer it was still clearly available. And from that honest place of self-awareness, their response tends to be more intentional and more real. If they value what existed between you, they will move toward it. They will not do it impulsively, and they will not do it merely to fill the empty space. After you have prayed and surrendered the outcome to God, the angels want to speak to something that many people carry quietly beneath the surface, but rarely find the words to voice. After you stop chasing, after you create the silence, and after you genuinely trust God with whatever the outcome will be, many people expect that everything will resolve itself quickly. They expect that the answer will come swiftly and that the shift will produce an immediate and clearly visible result. But, beloved, God works in seasons. Just as a seed placed carefully into the ground does not become a mature tree in a single night, your covenant clarity is being grown with care, with intention, and in the perfect divine timing that only heaven can see and orchestrate. Do not mistake a quiet season for an empty one. God is working even when you cannot see the evidence of that work in the circumstances around you. He is working within them, stirring and revealing and gently confronting what has been consistently avoided. He is working within you, healing and strengthening and preparing your spirit, so that when what is coming finally arrives, you are not too depleted or too distracted to receive it fully and with a whole heart. He is working in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding the entire situation, removing what is not properly aligned with your destiny, positioning what is, and ordering every single step according to his perfect and unhurried plan. Please share this message with someone who is still chasing and needs to hear this. Habakkuk 2:3 reminds us that the vision is for an appointed time. Though it may seem slow to our human understanding, we are told to wait for it because it will surely come without being late. What God has prepared for your life is already written. It is already appointed. It will not arrive one single moment before its time. But beloved, hear this clearly and let it settle deep into your spirit. It will not be late either. Trust the timing of heaven even when it feels slow to your human understanding, even when the silence stretches longer than you anticipated or hoped for. Even when your emotions urge you to reach out again, to explain yourself one more time, or to chase once more just to end the uncertainty you are sitting inside. In those moments, return to what Proverbs 3:5-6 declares: trust in the Lord with your whole heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. That promise is for you right now, in this very season, and in this very silence. Beloved, the angels want to speak directly to something that lives quietly beneath the surface of why so many people return to chasing even after they clearly know within themselves that they should stop. It is the fear of being alone. It is the fear that if this particular connection does not work out, or if this specific person does not ultimately choose them, there will be no one else. It is the fear that this was perhaps the very best they could ever hope for. It is the worry that waiting will only lead to more waiting and eventually to a loneliness with no end in sight. If those thoughts have visited your spirit in the quiet moments, beloved, hear this with your whole heart. Those thoughts are not from heaven. They are whispered by the one whose assignment is to keep you living small, living afraid, and settled into far less than what God has prepared and promised for your life.